Why doesn't Wirecast work with the Elgato Stream Deck? Well, I tell them, which I'm going to tell you today, it does. Elgato Stream Deck is very easy to set up with Wirecast, and I highly recommend it if you're looking for a versatile and easy-to-use hotkey controller for your live streams or your live productions. We're going to dive into it today on Wirecast Live. You're watching Wirecast Live. I'll see you back right after the opening credits. Welcome back to Wirecast Live, another episode here on a lovely Thursday afternoon in California. I'm your host, Andrew Haley, and I want to say welcome to all of you. If you're a first-time viewer or if you are a long-time viewer, leave a comment or a chat in the Facebook chat or the YouTube chat, or please share this out. In fact, share it right now so we can get it out there to other people who may want to learn about this cool little controller. This is going to be a fast episode. We're just going to be on here for a little bit of time because I want to dive right in and show you what's going on. But real quick, if you want to find us each week here live on Facebook, YouTube, and often our Periscope and Twitter channel, you can subscribe to our email list and we'll actually send you an email right to your inbox letting you know what topics and guests are coming up on the show and what other news and events. We won't spam you, I promise. You can also, of course, subscribe to the live notifications on Facebook or YouTube if you prefer to get notified that way. Either way, these are the places where you can find us on social media. And again, just leave a comment or a chat in the chat box, and I would love to see who's out there and who's watching. As I pull up the comments here, we'll get into that in just a second. Now, one thing you might want to know about are there a couple upcoming events that you'll probably want to mark your calendars for if this applies to you. The first is next week we have a webinar. So if you want to join us, we'll be talking about why Wirecast 9 is such a cool upgrade and what's going on in Wirecast 9. We did a webinar like this a few weeks back, but this is really for those of you who haven't upgraded yet. If you don't already own Wirecast 9, this is the place to come to check it out, and I will make the case for why you want this software on your desktop or computer. Now, we also have another live show next week with a great guest. It's going to be here on this show, Wirecast Live. We'll be talking to Vincenzo Landino, and we're going to be talking about 5 tips to stream without your phone without breaking your bank. So obviously, live streaming can get quite expensive. Vincenzo and I are going to dive in with just a few very, very practical pieces of advice on how you can make your streams look awesome, be well produced, and get into it without having to spend a ton of money. So if you're new to streaming or you're just getting into it, this might be the show for you so you can figure out how you can start streaming, get off your phone, your cellular phone device or others, and start getting into live productions like this. All right, those are the upcoming shows and announcements. I will, you can always get notified by our email list or go to telestream.net/events. If you're curious, we always put our shows there as well as our upcoming webinars and even our in-person trade shows and things like that. So I just want to say welcome to everybody. I see Chris, yay, welcome. I see Greg. Thanks for joining us, Greg. Greg, I believe you called in last week. That was 2 weeks ago when we did a rendezvous with Rendezvous. That was so much fun. I'm glad to have met you and talked to you during that show. And Alex, welcome. Thanks for watching. The rest of you guys, I see Lutz is watching and some of you other guys. So definitely join in. And actually, this is where I announce the stream of the week. Every week we pick a winner for the best stream of the week. Now, we usually encourage you to share those out in our Wirecast Facebook users group. You can find that on Facebook and just search for Wirecast users. And we pick a winner who's shared. You can also tweet at us, or if you post a stream, just use the hashtag whereiswirecast, and we can find that really easily, and we'll pick a winner each week. The winner this week is, drumroll, Lutz with his sailing live stream, which he did. We talked about it actually on the Rendezvous show. He came in and was telling us he was up late getting ready for this live streaming challenge out in the middle of a lake. It was going to be very complex. It was the first time they were going to try it. And if you go check it out, this is a great example of how Wirecast can be used out in the field. So congratulations, Lutz. Nice job on that. Thank you so much for sharing that with us, and we're really happy that you pulled it off. So great job. Again, send us a note or let us know. Maybe we should check back in with you and see what you learned and some of the tips that you might have gleaned from such a, maybe in some ways, very complex out in the field live stream. Okay, so we're going to dive in now on our topic, how to use the Elgato Stream Deck, and we're going to make it really simple for you. I'm going to break it down and show you how to use this thing. So right here on my second camera, I have the Elgato actually on my desk. So here you go, our nice close-up shot. And the Elgato Stream Deck is a very easy to use controller made by Elgato. And I'm actually going to pull up their website in just a moment here. Let's go to elgato.com. I'm going to open Safari. And we'll just go, if you're curious where it is, you can go to elgato.com. They have a bunch of different things. But the Stream Deck is one of their very popular items. So you can click on gaming. You can click on that. You'll see it right here at the top under Stream Deck. So click on Stream Deck. This is kind of it. It's a USB controller for your Mac or Windows computer, and it has some very simple software. You'll need to download it. So once you've purchased it, download the Stream Deck, for Mac or Windows, depending on which one you're using. Download it and install the software. Once you've installed the software, it should pop up on your desktop and be installed in your applications folder if you're on Mac, or in your programs folder if you're on Windows. It looks like this. This is the Stream Deck software. If you can see, actually it's behind my head, so let me move over here. There it is, right here. So that's the Stream Deck software. We're going to launch that. And when you pull it open, you will see just a basic controller piece of software for your Stream Deck. It's really easy to sort of kind of get the hang of, but we're going to dive into it a little bit. Now, the Stream Deck software is really basically a way to assign different functions to the buttons on the Stream Deck. Now, what's neat about the Stream Deck is that these buttons, you can put your own pictures and customize your own, even put little GIFs in there, so you can actually almost do little videos and things like that. And NewBlue, our friends over NewBlue, are already working with Elgato and the Stream Deck to allow you to see little previews of your titles and things like that. So on the right here, there are some built-in applications that Elgato has already pre-programmed or hard-coded in here. Wirecast is not on this list. So we'll talk with Elgato. I'd love to get on this list. We'll see if that's possible. But in the meantime, you can still absolutely configure this to work with Wirecast really easily. So if you want to just say, pick your default program here, or click on this, you can actually choose applications that you want it to work with. So under the profiles, you can create multiple different profiles of what you want it to work with. And there's a default profile. You can also create profiles for other applications. So if there's other applications you want it to work with, anytime that application is open, then whatever buttons you hit on it that you've programmed will do that. That could be like Photoshop, it could be a web browser, it could be your favorite movie watching software, whatever you want to do. It doesn't matter as long as you can assign, keyboard keystrokes to things and things like that. So don't worry about that. For now, I just have the default profile, which I've selected an application. I've chosen Wirecast. So once you choose what application you want a profile to work with, when that application's open, that is the profile. And then this is my default. I want this profile to kind of be the active one since I'm assigning this to work with Wirecast. But of course, you could make whatever profile you want to be the active one. All right, so let's get into it and actually talk about how to make this work. The first thing you need to know is that you will probably want to set up some keystrokes in Wirecast that you can then assign to this button. Wirecast has its own keyboard shortcut manager, which I've talked about before, but it's up here under Preferences, and it's in the Preferences menu, and it's the keyboard shortcuts. Now, all I did here was I just created 6 keystrokes from 0 to 5, and I literally just I did the key binding to 5. So let me show you really quickly how that works. We're going to make a new one, and I bet you can't guess what number I'm going to choose. I'm just going to choose the name of the shortcut is going to be 6 because it is literally the keyboard, the number 6 on my keyboard. And then we're going to record the shortcut and it could be 6, right? So, and I could change the name to be, this is what matters. It's the keystroke, not the name, but it helps you match what, key or keyboard you're using. So just keep that in mind. You could also name these functionally, like if you had already knew exactly what you were going to do with it. But I don't really know yet what I'm going to do with it or which shots I'm going to, assign it to. In fact, I'm going to leave that to kind of all that's going to go to the Stream Deck, and we'll just use the Stream Deck. So having some key bindings and some keystrokes available here are really useful. You can also turn these to be global, which just means that whether Wirecast is the application that's in the foreground or not, when you hit number 6, whatever happens will happen in Wirecast. So it's kind of useful that way. Sometimes you may want this. You may want, whenever this button gets pressed, the 6 button or the 5 button, that this happens. Or other times you may actually, no, I don't want those to happen, those keyboard shortcuts to happen or functions to happen unless I'm in Wirecast. Okay, so once we've assigned some keyboard shortcuts, we're going to go back to the Elgato software. One of the weird things I noticed about the Elgato software is that it doesn't appear in my open applications on Mac. So when I try to look around for it, I'm like, hey, is that even open? It actually is. It's hiding here. It just doesn't appear inside the Mac OS. It's almost like it's a ghost application, which is really odd. So if I even pull up my list of open applications, you won't even really see it on the short list of there. So you kind of have to, it is a little frustrating. You have to kind of hunt down your window and find it as you're building buttons. Okay. So building buttons is really easy. I have all these open buttons. In fact, there's this little welcome button, which you can see, and there's even this, and I can move the image around. So if we actually cut to the controller, you'll actually see that as I move the image around here, say 1 over, that will jump to wherever I want it to be. It's even got this cool little animated logo thing. Now, I don't actually want this welcome button. I don't even really need it. So I can trash this as a button, or I can replace it. So for now, I'm just going to trash it, and we'll get rid of that. So we're just going to start up here. So what are some functions or features you might want to use in Wirecast and have an easy one-button push to do? So for example, streaming and recording. You might want to be able to easily hit stream or hit record. So let's start with building a button for that. So the first thing we do is we click on the button where we want, and in general, you'll probably be going to the system set of keys. Everything else is really specific to certain applications. You'll probably want to go over to this system submenu, and here's where some general hotkeys are available, some general functions we're going to assign to the button. Hotkey is the one we'll pretty much be using every time. So we're going to hit hotkey. And there we go. We're just going to assign that. Now, we'll be doing that several times real quick because we'll probably just be assigning hotkeys to each button that we make. So the first thing we probably want to do is might want to title this one Stream, right? And then a robot doesn't really do it for me in terms of when it comes to streaming, so we probably want to assign an icon to it. So they have this really cool thing where we can actually create a new icon. And that will open their Stream Deck sort of key creator or key composer, and this is where we can make our own buttons, and they even have some handy library depending on what you want to do. So there's the all category, there's certain applications, there's websites and backgrounds, even colors you can assign. So whatever you want, design the button just the way you want it to be. Now, I have a power tip for you Wirecast users here. One of the cool things to do is if you want the button to match the way we've designed the stream button to look in Wirecast, there's actually a folder where all of these little images are located on your computer. When you install Wirecast, a folder called Resources is also installed, and it has all the resources that Wirecast uses for its app, its function, its user interface, including the little images for stream and record. So let me show you where that is. We're actually on Mac right now, so we're just going to go to the application itself, and we're going to right-click. Actually, I'll show in Finder because I need to be in the Finder or the file browser. The same thing, if you're on Windows, you'd go to your Wirecast folder and look for a program that says Resources. But on Mac, you're going to right-click on it, and you're going to click Show Package Contents. And then we're going to open Contents, and there it is. There's our Resources folder. Now be careful not to move anything out of here, but you can copy or paste whatever you want. And in fact, this resources folder has all the old images from many different versions of Wirecast that you've seen. A lot of this stuff isn't even in, some of the stuff isn't even in the UI anymore. But you can kind of browse through it and find the image you're looking for. And if we jump down to say stream, you can see, maybe we can grab a little file flow here. But you can sort of scroll through until you find the image you're looking for. So we could grab this stream PNG, we could grab the red one or the yellow one, any of these. Some of the newer icons are actually SVG files, which are not necessarily image files. They're more like packages, so you may have to convert those using, I found an online converter, but you can Google how to convert SVG. But if you have a PNG one or a JPEG, either one works. It's up to you. The nice thing about PNG files is they're transparent, so if there's something you don't want to have it like on a background or something like that. So I've actually already grabbed the images I want, and I just copied them. Just went to edit copy, and then I pasted them into a folder on my desktop, which is actually right under my Elgato buttons. So once we go back to the button creator, we can just click this little mountain and icon, just say add image, and we're going to, I created this little folder called Elgato buttons where I copied all the images I wanted, and we can actually jump in and find the stream icon, which I may have misnamed here. There it is. We're gonna add the stream PNG. And there it is. We've uploaded it, and it's already in the right size. Their button creator or their composer already creates it, and then we can hit save key. And there it is. It downloads to our downloads folder. And what's cool about this is back in the Elgato software, which we will have to actually go find because it doesn't allow us for a quick switch, we can now set from file, so set the image from the file. So again, one more time, just click on the robot to change, and then instead of create a new one, we've already created it using their composer, and we jump in and grab the stream icon, which is right there, or it's in my downloads, which is the most recent. Hold on. There it is. So that is sort of the simple, easy sort of create the button icon. So from there, you just sort of now the next thing is, obviously we already titled it, and you can see it actually says stream on the controller. So now it's my picture plus a cool like actual white text word of what we've named the button. And then the final thing is we click the hotkey, and we want to do the actual function that we want this button to do. Now, something to keep in mind is you will need to go check what is the hotkey, what is the shortcut that we need Elgato to remember. Well, when it comes to streaming, we need to actually go to the output settings and do the start all broadcasting. So start and stop broadcasting is streaming. Streaming used to be called broadcasting in Wirecast, and so Command B is our shortcut. We need to just make that button in the Elgato controller be Command B. So we're going to click in there again. We're going to hit Command B. And that will start or stop all streams, right? Okay, so that's our first one. We might want to do one for record. Again, just grab the hotkey. We may want to, we'll just set, I already have the file for this, so I've already downloaded this. And let me just jump in. We'll do Stream Deck key record, which actually maybe I have it in my folder. And we're going to go to desktop. Oop, I double clicked. Hold on, create new icon, set from file. Jump back in, we're going to do record. One of the things that if you don't go through the key creator, you'll get this sort of, it'll be offset, right? So the image may be up in the upper right corner based on sort of how it's positioned. So it is actually very useful to run your images through the key creator first. And so you might want to do that. So we can do a stream and record. And, for now we can do that or not. for now, I'm just going to leave it, but running it through the key, the key creator is really useful. So again, let's just jump back to Wirecast and just double check what is start or stop recording. It's Command K. So we need to map that to Command K. And we'll title it record, and we're going to do Command K. Boom. Okay, so now we have our stream and record buttons. And we probably want, there's lots of other ones. Again, you'll need to think of what are the things you most want to have ready or at your fingertips. Another one you probably want is like a clear all button, or a clear, take all clear layers, right? So this is where we get to our sort of internal applications. So right now, in order to clear a layer, I actually have to click the clear button, or I can clear one at a time by going holding the option key and holding clear 1, clear 2 and clear 3. So if I did that, so there's no button that's just already got a clear all, like with start and stop all broadcasting, start and stop recordings, those already have a master command or keystroke inside of Wirecast, so it's very easy to assign that to a button. But a clear all button, there is no master keystroke for that, which we could just pop into the Elgato software. So we need to create our own keystroke that will do the same thing. So this is where our built-in sort of assignable hotkeys come in handy. So this is where we can actually use the keystroke 0 to assign it to do something inside Wirecast. And the way we're going to do that is we're just going to assign 0 to all the clear layers. So when I hit 0, it's the same as if I'd clicked on each of these clear layers. Now we know that 0 will do that. So if I take these in here and then I hit 0, it should automatically punch up those clear layers. And we'll do the same thing. If for some reason that's not working for you, or the clear layers aren't going live like they should, then you may want to, which right now it isn't, which is odd, you can also do the same thing by creating a new shot. You can create a new shot, make a blank shot, just like you made like a clear layer, and you can assign that, say, 0. The same thing. So that's your other workaround if for whatever reason you're finding, like I am at this exact moment, that the keystroke isn't working. Actually duplicate that shot and assign it down here, and we're going to make that one 0 as well. Okay, so if you can also replace or delete the clear layers. This was sort of the old way to work around that. Now if we hit 0, oddly enough, not working either. Not sure why that is. Okay, well, I'm gonna have to play with that. As usual, demo gods have decided that that's not gonna work exactly the way I want it to. So what we're gonna do is the same thing, right? We're going to assume that we can get that working and maybe play with that a little bit more. I'm going to assign a hotkey to that shot. I'm going to jump in and hit create new file, or set from file. I've already actually converted my clear layer to what I want it to be, and I think it's in my downloads folder. Actually, no, that's the one I want probably. Let's just jump in, downloads. I don't think after I created all the stream keys, I moved all those files into where I wanted them. Okay, so that's the Stream Deck key that I want. So we're going to jump in. Now I have my clear layer icon. We're going to title it clear all, and we're going to assign the keystroke 0 to that. And actually it worked that time, oddly enough. Maybe because it's global, I'm not sure. Something was funny about that. Okay, I'll have to play with that a little bit more and see what's going on there. So if we jump back and to our Elgato software and we sort of press the button, we can make sure that we hit 0. Yeah, it worked great. Maybe it's actually a global problem because I have global checked. Interesting. Okay, well, we'll have to play with that a little bit more. Maybe something to do with the global and or the Stream Deck competing for the same keystroke. Who knows? All right, so we're going to go into the next piece of this, which is just to show you, that's how you sort of set up these buttons the way you want them to be set up. One by one, add as many as you want. You don't have to fill up the whole row. But the same thing if, say, for example, you want a shot, like this sort of desktop shot here, or my sort of main camera there, we can actually assign this another keyboard, right? So we could bring this on as, you know, our second keyboard shortcut. This could be shot 1. And so again, back in the software, we can jump over and say have our shot 1, 2, and 3. So we would just do a hotkey, jump it in, assign our image if we wanted to. For now, I'll just leave it the robot. And we get some main camera, or you could be a playlist. It could be whatever you want, and we're assign that the keyboard shortcut 1. And so that is sort of the way to build it out as you go. One of the neat things about this software, again, is we can move that over to this side. So it jumps over to the right controller. And if I don't want it, if I'm too worried about hitting stream and record, I can, again, move those wherever I want on the controller. And there's my clear all. So there's a bunch of different ways you can get that to go. Now, the last thing that I want to show you is that there is a cool way to make your buttons really exciting and fun, and that is if you find like a GIF file or some kind of you know, fun, fantastic like image. So you can search like Giphy, and you can use fun sort of GIFs that are out there and actually animate your things. So I obviously gravitated towards a lion and an exploding and a guy jumping out of the lion's mouth. I mean, that's just about as fun as it gets, right? Besides Kevin Ranch just killing it last night in the Warriors game. So that once you find the GIF you want, you can download it as a GIF. Has to be a small GIF file. You can't download, say, a massive one. And then you can jump into the Stream Deck software and you can assign that image. You can upload that image, again, using the key creator if you want, however you want to do that. Create a hotkey, just like we did. And actually, we can even trash that one. We'll make it our main camera. We can assign the image the same way we do it from each one. We go there, we jump into our desktop, we go to our Elgato buttons, and I did it again. I double-clicked, set from file, and we're going to jump in and we're going to choose the lion GIF. All right, we're going to add that in. Now here in the software, it looks static, right, just like an image. But when we look at the actual controller, and we'll need to cut to that camera, you can see the lion is actually doing it. The whole explosion, the whole GIF is playing out. That's because this software really just sees it as a simple, there we go, simple like image file. So we can assign that to be keystroke whatever we want. In this case, it's the keystroke number 1. Okay, so that's it, you guys. That is how you configure your Elgato Stream Deck to work with the with Wirecast. So there, I just tapped 1 and it pulled up camera 1. I tapped 0 and it's still not working the way I wanted, so we might need to play with that. Maybe we can change this to change keyboard shortcut, maybe 0. Let's try that again. There, with our blank shots. So again, we'll tap main camera. That worked perfectly. We're going to tap clear all. Who knows what's going on there. Let's try our stream button. That worked beautifully. So since I don't have any streams actually recorded, there's nothing to start, and Wirecast's default behavior is to ask me where I want to stream, which is awesome. And then we can even hit record and the same thing will happen. We'll start there. So that is the Elgato Stream Deck. That's how to configure it in a quick half hour. I hope this was helpful. Elgato makes a great product. It's a great piece of hardware, and I will figure out why these Command 0 clear all things are not quite working the way I expected them to. So that's it. Assign some keyboard shortcuts, play around with software. This is a great little device that if you are looking for a very affordable little controller that's USB and you can kind of configure it to look the way you want with awesome lions and exploding explosions and guys jumping out of people's mouths, and you can obviously do all kinds of the keystrokes that are already hard-coded into Wirecast. You just assign a button, move it around, and you're good to go. So I hope this was helpful. Thanks for watching. If you want more great live streaming tutorials and advice, you can go to our resources page. We also, of course, have a great live show here every week on Wirecast Live. Okay, and I see in the comments there, George says, you've been using the Elgato for a while. Glad to see Wirecast team has gotten around to chatting about it. Thank you. Yes, a lot of people just weren't aware of that, so I thought I would let them know. It does work, just you have to build it. There's just no built-in Click Wirecast feature. Just picked one up today, says Ian. Yes, says Kit. Richard says, can you cover toggle buttons and start and stop when pressing by the same key? I will be happy to cover that. I just don't have time today. We actually have to jet here really fast. Ross Brand in the house. I will be on your show in just a little while, so I'm looking forward to that. Thanks for having me on. If you guys are curious, go check out Ross's show, Ross Brand. We'll be talking about some fun stuff tonight. And then Alex Espinosa and Greg had some back and forth questions here. Everybody, I'm going to call it there for today. I want to say thanks so much to our partners for the show. They make this possible. I also want to say, if you want to check it out, we have our webinar next week on why Wirecast 9. It's a great overview of what's new in it, but it's also very much, making the case for why you should upgrade if you haven't. And then finally, we would like to thank all of you, our audience, for tuning in each week. I will see you next week. Oh, there's the webinar link if you're curious. You can go to telestream.net/events. It'll be on Thursday, actually the same day as our show, just in the morning. And then in the afternoons, we will be doing an interview with Vincenzo Landino. I'm very excited, talking about some of the simple tips you can do to make your live streams look great and not have to use your phone and not break the bank doing it. All right, I'll see you next time. Thanks so much for watching. This has been another episode of Wirecast Live.